The digital clock blinked 3:17 a.m. when Tomas's scream tore through the silence of their small suburban home. Eliza bolted upright, her heart hammering against her ribs as she rushed to her son's room. The hallway seemed longer tonight, stretching endlessly before her as another cry echoed through the darkness. "Mom, something's wrong with me." Tomas's voice broke with terror. Eliza pushed open his door to find the 11-year-old standing before her, his mirror, hands pressed against his face. The nightlight cast just enough glow to see his trembling shoulders. "Tomas, what's wrong?" she whispered, reaching for the light switch. "Don't," he pleaded. "The light hurts. But look." He turned slowly, his hands falling away from his face. Eliza's breath caught in her throat. Where her son's warm brown eyes had been just hours ago, 2 obsidian pools now stared back at her. No whites, no iris, just complete darkness. "That seemed to swallow the dim light of the room, Mom." His voice quivered. "My eyes turned black last night. And now you're crying like you know why." Eliza hadn't realized tears were streaming down her face. Her legs weakened, and she sank to the floor, memories she had buried 20 years ago, suddenly surging to the surface. Memories of her father's. Cryptic warnings before he disappeared, of documents she wasn't supposed to see, of a heritage she had chosen to forget. "It's happening," she whispered. More to herself than to her son. Tomas knelt before her, his black eyes somehow conveying more emotion than should be possible. "What's happening, Mom? Please, I'm scared." She reached out with trembling fingers to touch his face. His skin felt normal, human, but those eyes, they weren't just a medical condition. They were a beacon, a sign that what her father had warned about was real. "I need to leave," she said suddenly, pushing herself to her feet. "Pack only what you absolutely need. Nothing electronic, nothing that can be tracked. Leave." "But school." "There is no more school, Tomas." The firmness in her voice surprised even her. "Not for you, not anymore." While Tomas packed, Eliza retrieved an old wooden box from beneath the floorboards in her closet. She hadn't opened it since her father vanished. Inside lay a worn journal filled with astronomical calculations, strange symbols, and one phrase, repeated throughout: "When the stars speak through human eyes." She flipped to the last page, where her father had written, "If the signs manifest, go to the coordinates. Trust no one else." Dawn was breaking as they loaded their meager belongings into Eliza's aging sedan. The neighborhood was still sleeping, unaware that one of their own was no longer entirely human. "Sunglasses," Eliza said, handing Tomas a pair. "Don't take 'em off, no matter what." They drove in silence for nearly an hour before Tomas spoke again. "What am I becoming?" Elisa gripped the steering wheel tighter. "According to your grandfather, something ancient? Something that's been waiting in our bloodline for generations? Like a disease?" "No." She glanced at him, at the dark lenses hiding what she knew were no longer human eyes. "Like a connection to something beyond our world." Tomas pressed his forehead against the window glass. "I can see things. Mom, when I close my eyes, which I guess doesn't really matter now since they're all black eye, see patterns. Stars, constellations I've never learned about." Eliza's throat tightened. "What else?" "Voices. Not like hearing them. But, ... knowing them. We're talking about Earth, about humans, about something coming." A truck roared past them, and Eliza realized she had let their speed drop dangerously low. She accelerated, checking the rearview mirror compulsively. "Your grandfather believed that certain humans are vessels, that our DNA contains dormant connections to ... elsewhere." The words sounded absurd as she spoke them, yet the evidence sat. Beside her, he said the connection would activate when needed. "Needed for what?" Tomas asked. Before she could answer, her phone rang, the phone she had forgotten to leave behind. The caller ID showed a number she didn't recognize. "Don't answer." "It," Tomas said urgently. "They're tracking it."
Who's tracking it?
"I don't know, but they know about me, about the others." "Others?" Eliza stared at her son. "There are others like you." Tomas nodded slowly, waking up all over. "Their eyes are opening too." The phone stopped ringing, then immediately began again. With a sudden decision, Eliza pulled over, rolled down the window, and hurled the device into a drainage ditch. "The coordinates Grandpa left," she said, returning to the highway. "They're for a place in the mountains. If what he believed is true, there will be people there who can help us understand what's happening to you." Tomas nodded, his face unusually calm for a child whose entire existence had just been appended. "They're waiting for us," he said simply. "Who? Is the others who hear the stars?" He turned those hidden black eyes toward her, and the ones who sent the message in the first place. 3 days of back roads and cheap motels had left Eliza exhausted, but Tomas seemed energized despite their circumstances. They stopped at a roadside diner in a small mountain town, their last meal before the final stretch to the coordinates. "Order whatever you want," Eliza told him, scanning the laminated menu. "We don't know when we'll eat properly again." Tomas nodded, keeping his sunglasses firmly in place despite the dim lighting. A waitress approached, her namatag reading Fiona. With a tired smile, "What can I get you folks?" as she jotted down their order. Tomas suddenly stiffened. "They're here," he whispered. Eliza glanced toward the entrance where 2 men in dark suits had just walked in. Nothing about them seemed unusual, yet Tomas's reaction was unmistakable. "Bathroom," she muttered, sliding from the booth. "Now." They slipped through the kitchen, despite the cook's protests, bursting out the back door into an alley. Behind them, shouting erupted from inside the diner. "Did you know?" Eliza asked as they ran toward their car. "I could see them. Not their bodies, but something around them. Dark, empty spaces where thoughts should be." They drove frantically into the mountains, abandoning main roads for logging trails. As night fell, they reached a clearing where a small cabin stood, smoke curling from its chimney. "This is it," Elisa said, checking the coordinates one last time. Before they could approach, the cabin door opened. A tall man with silver-streaked hair stepped out, his eyes hidden behind sunglasses despite the darkness. "You're Eliza," he said, "Harold's daughter. We've been waiting." Inside the cabin, Tomas gasped. 3 other children sat around a table, all wearing sunglasses. When the man who introduced himself as Professor Jeremiah Ward closed the curtains, all 4 children removed their glasses simultaneously, revealing identical obsidian eyes. The awakened Jeremiah said simply, "Your father was right all along." "About what exactly?" Eliza demanded. "That certain human bloodlines carry dormant alien genetic markers. Activators, we call them. For millennia they've remained silent, but something has triggered them now." He looked gravely at the children. "Something is coming." Jeremiah's mountain refuge housed 7 transformed children in total, each experiencing different manifestations. Of their awakening, Tomas could perceive intentions and see energy patterns. Delia, a quiet 13-year-old, could understand any written language instantly. Young Finn could sense events occurring thousands of miles away. "They're not becoming aliens," Jeremiah explained during their 3rd night at the cabin. "They're becoming interpreters, conduits." Eliza watched Tomas practicing with the others, directing streams of light between their hands. "Conduits for what?" "For the Coalition." Jeremiah sighed. "Your father believed, and I've confirmed, that an alliance of civilizations has been monitoring Earth for millennia. They've protected us by keeping us hidden from the wider universe." "Hidden from what?" The answer came in a blinding flash of light that flooded the clearing outside. Lisa rushed to the window in time to see an impossible sight, a shimmering doorway hanging in midair. Through it stepped a figure unlike anything from Earth. The being stood 7 feet tall, with limbs too numerous and a shape too fluid to properly define. When it spoke, the words formed directly in Eliza's mind. "The harvesters approach. The children must be prepared." The children gathered around the visitor without fear, their black eyes reflecting its shimmering form. Tomas stepped forward. "From the Solon Collective," he said with certainty. "The ones who encoded the activation sequences in our ancestors." "Yes," the being confirmed. "We are part of the coalition that has watched your world. The harvesters seek planets with developing consciousness. They convert entire species into biological processors for their hive networks." Jeremiah joined them, face grim. "How long do we have?" "Days." Their scout ships have already breached your solar system. The children are our final defense, the only beings who can interface with our technology while maintaining their humanity. Eliza grabbed Tomas's shoulders protectively. You're using them as weapons? No, the alien corrected. As bridges. What flows through them will save your world if they can bear it. Government forces discovered the cabin 2 days later. Helicopters circled as armed agents surrounded the perimeter. Inside, Jeremiah worked frantically to prepare the children for what was to come. They think they're containing a biohazard. Or stopping terrorists, he explained as they gathered in the basement. They don't understand that they're interfering with Earth's only defense. A coalition being who called itself Nexus had provided crystalline devices for each child. When touched, the crystals bonded with their skin, spreading intricate patterns up their arms. These will help channel what's coming, Nexus explained. Without them, the knowledge would burn through your minds. Tomas winced as his crystal pulsed. I can see them now, the harvesters. Thousands of ships like locusts made of shadow. Outside, a negotiator called through a megaphone. We have the building surrounded. Send out the children, and no one will be harmed. Too late, Delia whispered, her black eyes wide. They've entered Earth's atmosphere. The sky darkened unnaturally as something massive eclipsed the sun. Agents outside faltered, looking upward as their radios erupted with panicked chatter. Inside, Nexus stood before the children. It is time. The 7 children formed a circle, their crystalline implants glowing with increasing intensity. Turn to Eliza one last time. Mom, whatever happens, remember that this is what I was born for. Before she could respond, a beam of light shot from the sky, penetrating the cabin roof and enveloping the children. Their black eyes blazed like onyx stars as knowledge from 1,000 worlds poured into them. Outside, chaos erupted as the first. Harvester ships descended, organic machines that defied physics. The government agents scattered as energy weapons fired from the alien crafts. Then, impossibly, the weapons stopped. The ships froze in midair. Through the broken roof, 7 beams of darkness shot upward from the children's eyes, connecting with the Harvester fleet. Part 5. Humanity's New Dawn. The battle lasted 23 minutes by Earth's reckoning. But for those who witnessed it, time seemed to stretch and contract unpredictably. The children, connected through their obsidian gaze to both the Coalition's defense network and the Harvester hive mind, fought on a plane of existence humans could barely comprehend. Eliza watched helplessly as Tomas's body convulsed, black, tears streaming from his eyes while his mind fought somewhere among the stars. Government forces retreated to a safe distance, their weapons useless against the cosmic forces at play. Nexus stood in the center of the children's circle, its form fluctuating wildly as it channeled energy between dimensions. They are rewriting the Harvester's core directives, it explained to Eliza, is turning their hunger against them. Above them, the massive Harvester ships began to fold inward, collapsing into themselves like origami crushed by invisible hands. Smaller vessels scattered, attempting to flee, only to be snared by tendrils of darkness emanating from the children's eyes. Then, suddenly, silence fell. The children collapsed simultaneously, the black fading from their eyes to reveal normal human colors beneath. Tomas's familiar brown eyes found his mother's as she rushed to cradle him. It's done, he whispered. They're gone. Nexus approached, its form now stable and somehow more human-like. The threat is neutralized, but others will come. Earth is no longer hidden. Government vehicles approached cautiously. Leading them was a woman with the bearing of someone accustomed to authority. She surveyed the scene, the exhausted children, the alien being, the ordinary-looking adults, who had somehow been at the center of Earth's first contact with hostile forces. I am Director Reeves, she announced. Would someone care to explain what just happened? 3 months later, the world had changed irrevocably. The existence of extraterrestrial life was public knowledge. A new international agency had been formed to handle cosmic relations, the awakened children now numbering in the hundreds as more activations Kurd serving as Earth's ambassadors to the stars. Eliza watched from the observation deck as Tomas participated in his weekly coalition briefing. His eyes remained human most of the time now, darkening only when he needed to access the cosmic knowledge implanted within him. "Do you ever wish we could go back?" Jeremiah asked, joining her at the window. Before all this? Elisa considered the question as she watched her son expertly manipulating holographic star maps, teaching military officials about civilizations light years away. "No," she finally answered. "This is what we were always meant to be, part of something larger." On the table before Tomas lay her father's old journal, its pages now making perfect sense. The final entry, which had once seemed like the ravings of a madman, now read like prophecy. "When the stars speak through human eyes, our isolation ends. Not with conquest or submission, but with awakening. We are not alone. We never were." Outside the facility windows, the night sky seemed more crowded with possibilities than ever before. Humanity had taken its first steps into a universe both more wondrous and more dangerous than anyone had imagined. And leading the way were children. With eyes that had glimpsed infinity and returned to tell the tale,